Good morning, beloved members of Unity of Fort Myers. It's so wonderful to be back. My name is Dr. Will Tuttle, and I'd like to invite all of us to join together on this beautiful morning for our opening prayer. So let's turn our attention within as we feel our connection with this beautiful earth, as we inhale together and breathe the one life that lives through all of us, breathing through all of us, divine love, filling every cell of our being with freedom, joy, and abundance and radiant wellness, feeling our connection with the infinite sky, the heaven within and without, the divine being that is the source of all life. So we give thanks for this precious opportunity to come together here this morning in this sacred space, this sanctuary of divine love. We give thanks for the words, the music, the images, the prayers and meditations, the inspirations, knowing that every action, thought, word, and deed that radiates from our being together here this morning will be for the upliftment and healing of the whole human family and the whole web of life on this earth, that we may all live our lives as expressions of the inner Christ, the truth, the divine love that is the source of our life and all life. And together we give thanks, and so it is. Good morning. Amen. Thank you.
Let us say together our mission statement. Through prayer, education, and service, we bring to action the one and only power of God. And our vision, centered in love, we joyfully celebrate a world united in divine truth. I'm Joanne. I am the platform assistant for today, so welcome to everyone. I know we have a couple of new people here today, but this is the time when we like to recognize new people for the first time that are joining us. Anybody out there? Great. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I would also like to warn you that we are an affectionate group. So once we start to welcome everyone, everybody's going to stand up and start hugging each other and loving all over each other. So if you'd like to just reach out a hand or say hello, we can respect that as well. So now is the time that we welcome everyone.
come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you. No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open.
Okay, there's a friendly reminder. I'm going to go through the announcements. We do have quite a few, so bear with me. But the friendly reminder is if you have not already done so, please return your membership renewal form to the office by this Friday, March 1st, to keep your membership active. Active members will be encouraged to vote for our new board members at the annual meeting on Sunday, March 24th. Thank you. And today, after the service, Tuttle will offer a workshop on opening the intuitive gate, keys to developing your intuition here in the sanctuary. We ask that if you'd like to bring a lunch and enjoy it out on the lanai, and then come back in for the promising experience. There's also more information on that in the lobby. It's going to be at 11:45. Thank you. Tuesday, February 27th, 10 to noon, we have Building Balance presented by Lee Health. Wednesday, February 28th, from 11 to noon, we have the Arthritis Exercise class led by Area Agency on Aging. Saturday, March 2nd, from 8:30 to noonish, we have Agape, which helps maintain our campus. Come when you want and leave when you must. Lunch will be provided. Sunday, March 3rd at 11:30, we have our volunteer team meeting potluck. Stop by to learn about and possibly join a team of your choice, like the welcome committee, the podium assistant. We have a lot of opportunities to be of service. Sunday, March 10th at 11:30, we have the board candidate meet and greet potluck in the chapel. And then Saturday, March 16th at 2, this sounds exciting. We have the Bad Girls of the Bible, back by popular demand. Don't miss this fun educational performance. Sherry, are you involved in that? Just an encouraging supporter. Pam is, though. Awesome. And Linda Lee.
Yeah, and Joy.
Joy.
And Cece is.
Cece.
A whole bunch of us who are.
The Bad Girls of the Bible. It's a fun educational performance by some of those ladies. And that's Saturday, March 16th at 2. Flyers for all of these events are available throughout the campus, or you can refer to the weekly newsletter for more details. And now we are going to do the prayer box. Pam is our chaplain today. Yeah, could you grab that box and join us?
Okay. Thank you. We know that we are surrounded by our best and highest good, and in that knowledge, we release any thoughts of doubt, fear, lack, or any negative thoughts or feelings we have. We thank you, Mother, Father, God, for all your beneficence and all your omnipresence and all your wisdom to inspire and encourage us in our way and on our journey. Amen.
And together, the prayer box affirmation, all is well, for it is on earth as it is in the kingdom of heaven. Thank you. And Pam will be available after the service if you have a special need in your heart or gratitude in the prayer room. You can also fill out the blue slips which are on the back of the chairs to put in the prayer box. And now we'll do the oneness affirmation. To stand, please. Sorry, thank you. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. Thank you. And the daily reading today, Sunday, February 25th, 2024, the word is faith. I carry my faith in God with me throughout the day. I keep my faith at the forefront of my awareness, taking a few minutes in the morning to pause, breathe deeply, and place my awareness on the presence of God. I feel energized and strengthened. I expect all good things. As the day progresses, I pause again for a moment or two and affirm, God and I are one. I have faith that God, my source, is with me in everything I think, say, and do. At night, I look back on the events of the day and savor the moments in which God's presence felt especially strong. I have faith that awakening from a restful night's sleep, hearing a kind remark, enjoying time in nature, or spending quality time with a loved one are ways to feel the presence of God within and around me. From 1 Chronicles, chapter 23, verse 30, and they shall stand every morning thanking and praising the Lord, and likewise at evening. And now we have the 40 Days of Lent reading, again, Sunday, February 25th. Jesus Let Go of Others' Approval by Reverend Ellen Davenport. Jesus was not a people pleaser. He never seemed to worry what others would think of him or how they might react, even when he knew they would be displeased. The earliest story of Jesus' letting go of approval was in childhood when he stayed behind at the temple after Passover. That's from Luke, second book of Luke, chapter 41, verse 52. Verse 41 to 52. He offered no apology when his parents found him 3 days later. He said to them, "Why were you searching for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" Later, when he was teaching, healing, and surrounded by crowds, his family tried to reach him. In Mark's version, they feared Jesus was losing his mind and wanted to restrain him. Mark chapter 3, verse 21. In all the Gospels, his reaction was the same when told his family was outside. "Who are my mother and my brothers?" And looking at those who sat around him, he said, "Here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother." Mark chapter 3, verse 33 to 35. He seemed to feel no obligation to meet others' expectations, and he taught this lesson to Martha when he visited her home. She was bustling around, ensuring everyone was fed and comfortable, while her sister Mary sat at Jesus' feet listening. Martha demanded that Jesus tell Mary to get up and help her. But the Lord answered her, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from her." Luke chapter 10, verse 41 to 42. Jesus knew people talked about him. At one point, he said he was being compared to John the Baptist, neither of them favorably. For John the Baptist has come eating no bread and drinking no wine, and you say he has a demon. The Son of Man has come eating and drinking, and you say, 'Look, a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners.'" Luke chapter 7, verse 33 to 34. He faced outright hostility from the scribes and Pharisees. He was feared as a zealot or revolutionary. He would lead an insurrection. No doubt he was the talk of Jerusalem after he turned over tables in the temple. Jesus was not universally loved, even in his hometown of Nazareth. Mark chapter 6, verse 1 through 6. They already knew him as the son of Mary and a carpenter, and their reaction was basically, "Who does he think he is?" Jesus lamented to his disciples, "Prophets are not without honor, except in their hometown, and among their own kin, and in their own house." Later, as he prepared the disciples to go out on their own, Jesus cautioned them not to be upset if they were rejected. "If anyone will not welcome you or listen to your words, shake off the dust from your feet as you leave that house or town." Matthew chapter 10, verse 14. He never suggested that they could please all the people all the time. And now I will introduce our guest today, our guest minister. This is Dr. Will Tuttle. He is a composer, pianist, educator, and author of the best-selling book, The World Peace Diet, published in 18 languages. He's been devoted to providing uplifting and healing original music and to helping people awaken their inner wisdom and genius. He has a PhD in education from the University of California at Berkeley, focusing on educating intuition. He's taught college courses in philosophy, humanities, mythology, creativity, and comparative religion. He's a former Zen monk and Dharma master in the Korean Zen tradition. Currently conducting a music, art, and education ministry with his wife, Madeline, who is also with us today, and has created these beautiful pieces here on display. She is a visionary artist from Switzerland. Madeline specializes in the paintings that celebrates the beauty of animals and nature. She is also a flautist and Waldorf teacher. They travel and provide lectures, concerts, and workshops throughout North America and worldwide. The inspiring art prints, cards, and books, as well as CDs of the original piano music, are available in the back as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Joanne. Okay, so I'd like to go ahead and get started with the meditation time. And again, thank you for your participation. It's really a delight to be back here in Fort Myers in this beautiful new building and to see the progress that's been made. It's very inspiring. So let's join together. Get comfortable in your seats as we begin our meditation time together. Let's become aware of our breathing, allowing our mind to relax with every exhalation into this present moment. Letting go of any thoughts of the past or the future. Coming home to this moment, the only holy moment is right now. And we give thanks for this precious opportunity to be together here in this sanctuary. Knowing that this outer sanctuary is a manifestation of the inner sanctuary, where we dwell always in unity with all living beings and with the source of all life, the infinite love that flows through every cell of our being. And we give thanks for this community, for everyone who helps make this outer sanctuary possible. We give thanks for all of our loved ones and for all of the teachers in our life, for all of the teachings of all the wisdom traditions that turn our minds away from the delusion of separateness to the truth of the infinite interconnectedness of all life. We give thanks also for this beautiful earth. We give thanks for the forests and rivers, for the lakes and streams and ponds, the oceans, the islands, all of the prairies and the jungles, the whole celebration of life here, all of the animals, the birds and the fishes and all living beings. The great display of divine love and intelligence that we see all around us. And we give thanks knowing that the light that shines at the heart of the universe is shining right now also in our heart, shining in every cell of our being, bringing every dimension of our life into harmony, into abundance, into radiant health, into freedom and wisdom, into joy and peace, into truth. And we give thanks knowing that we are on this earth in a great adventure of awakening, of spiritual unfoldment, and of making a contribution. And so we just allow the music now to open an inner doorway to connect more deeply with the mission and the purpose of this lifetime, to connect more deeply with the truth that we are. abiding together in the silence. Abiding in love, abiding in our true home of peace, abiding in unity with divine love, abiding in compassion for all living beings, abiding in joy, abiding in gratitude, abiding in freedom, abiding in awareness. May we continue to awaken to the truth that we are, the original brightness of our mind and our heart. And may we continue to work together to build a more enlightened society, a world that reflects the truth that we are, the inner Christ of loving kindness, joy and freedom through the power and presence of the infinite spirit of truth and love. We give thanks knowing this is so, and so it is. I'd like to thank you all for joining together in our meditation time. And before we have the talk, I'd like to play a piece of original music. And this is a piece called The Garden. It's an original piece of music, Le Jardin, if you know French, en français, Le Jardin. And this piece of music, the melody was inspired a number of years ago when I was in Ukraine. And it was back when it was the Soviet Union, and I was over there as part of a citizen diplomacy effort to try to create more peace between the Soviet Union and the United States. And so we would have people from the Soviet Union come over here and plant peace gardens and things, and we would go over there and do concerts and various things and realize that we love each other no matter what the governments say. And this melody came to me. I was playing this beautiful Petrov grand piano. That's the Russian brand of, like we have a Steinway, they have a Petrov. And this melody came, and I wrote it down. I'd like to share it with you and just dedicate this music to creating a field of harmony and peace and kindness and caring and understanding that really surrounds the world. that we can be part of that, we can contribute to that. So please feel free to let the music take you on an inner journey, and I'd like to dedicate this to the healing of all of our relations. This is the garden. Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, let's see. How high do I want to be here? I'd like to, again, say it again. Madeline and I, for those of you who don't remember, we started coming here way back I checked on my computer, my schedule. So 1991, we came here for the first time way back in February of 1991. It was on Lafayette Street in downtown Fort Myers. Ken Murdoch was there, and we hit it off right away. How many of you remember Reverend Ken? Some of you? Yeah. So Reverend Ken, we just saw him a few months ago. We were at the Unity Church in Vacaville, giving the Sunday morning talk and workshop, and I called Reverend Ken. He's retired now, but he came over afterwards, and we had a great connection. He's doing great. Are we good? Are we good? Wow, that was that was Ken just playing a trick on us, I think. So anyway, yeah, he's doing great. And so we were here. We had a fifth wheel trailer, and we were parked out here for at least one or 2 months every year from, I think, 1991 till about 2010, and or 1993, I guess. So this became our second home when we were living on the road. And then we haven't been here for quite a while, so it's great to be back. We have a house now in Northern California. Madeline's hard at work with our food forest. We have 75 fruit and nut trees. We're busy growing food and selling it at the farmer's market, and we're still traveling. We're on a 5-month tour right now, lecture tour, going to Unity churches, and also promoting compassion for animals through my book, The World Peace Diet, and a new book coming called Food for Freedom. So we're busy, but it's just really an honor to be here and to see the tremendous progress you've made with the grounds and the beauty and all the animals that are here. I don't know if you realize, I guess you probably do, but you have all these birds. We saw these two pileated woodpeckers were having quite a time this morning with each other, and then there's at least 2 or 3 storks and great blue herons and all kinds of creatures that are really enjoying the place. And I think it's so good to have a feeling that we're part of nature and have this kind of a beautiful sanctuary with so much land. That's very unique in the Unity movement. There's not many churches at all that have this kind of an amazing place. And I think it's a manifestation, really, of the consciousness and the love that are so important now, I think, for us to connect with. So as you may know, Madeline and I have been going to Unity churches since back in 1990, and we've been to many hundreds, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe more than anybody at this point, because that's all we do. And so we've been to Unity churches in all states, except North Dakota doesn't have them. When North Dakota gets one, we'll be there. And many foreign countries, New Zealand and Australia and Europe and Caribbean and all around. And I love the Unity movement, really, because to me, it's really one of the most healthy spiritual movements in the sense that it's really based at its foundation on this attitude and idea of inclusivity, really kind of this radical inclusion, like we include everyone within the sphere of our kindness and concern and welcome everyone, of course, but also Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, the co-founders of Unity, always emphasized the importance of the wonderful teachings of Jesus in the Bible and the teachings of the Christian tradition, but also that we don't have to reject the other wisdom traditions. And my own background primarily, besides Christianity, I was, of course, raised in this, but also I have studied Buddhism quite a bit, and I was a Zen Buddhist monk. And I really feel the tremendous wisdom that Unity has been able to bring in through the teachings of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore to expand the teaching beyond sort of a narrow dogmatic way. Like when I was a kid growing up, it was sort of this creed, and you get to go to the special heaven that was just for us if you would believe our creed, and that kind of exclusiveness. And I think it's so refreshing to have this idea that each one of us, through our own inner efforts, can authentically connect with the spiritual source of what we are, and we can create communities of healing and awakening through our own efforts, essentially, by connecting with that which transcends what we are. And Charles Fillmore is famous, of course, for kind of summing that idea up and saying that what he liked to do was to go straight to headquarters, right? That idea, each one of us can go straight to headquarters. What he meant by that was, I'll just ask Myrtle. And he had it kind of easy. If you have a good woman, I just ask Madeline. You know? But the basic idea is each one of us has the capacity, when we quiet our mind, which is always chattering, usually it's filled with all kinds of programming from the Walmart ads and from our parents and from our teachers when we were growing up and from all the ministers, not Reverend Crystal and the Unity ministers, but the other ministers. And so, it's really important for us to develop this capacity to quiet our mind and connect with our inner wisdom, the inner guidance system that we all have. We'll be talking about that. That's the awakening your inner genius. It's really about awakening this inner guidance system. And I think we all know in our bones that there's nothing more valuable, really, to us than an inner guidance system, an inner way of understanding what is ours to do that will lead us in our unique life. Because each one of us has a unique life, we're a unique being, we have a unique adventure for this lifetime. And that doesn't mean that our life will always be easy, that we'll never have any problems or challenges. And it's just, in many ways, it's the opposite. It means our life will have lots of challenges, but the idea is we're living our life. So the gift that we get, really, I think, through developing our intuition is the gift of authenticity. We're living our life instead of a copycat kind of thing, looking at other people, what they're doing. I really like that reading from this morning about Jesus not wanting approval. That's really a very important point because what Jesus represents, of course, is the inner Christ, and it's not looking at other people to think, well, I want to get along with the crowd, right? That's like totally not that. And so I think that's one of the greatest challenges we have, actually, is to live our life authentically and also be in community, right? To get along with everybody, but also each one of us honoring our unique understanding and our unique wisdom. And this is where the inner effort comes. How many of you actually have a regular spiritual practice that you do every day? Come on, we need more hands up. How many of you never raise your hand no matter what? I think it's you. So it's so important, I think, to have a regular practice, something you do on a daily basis, prayer time, or meditation, quiet the mind. It's like brushing your teeth, just make it happen. Usually it's good to do it in the morning, like before things start getting busy. Take time to connect with the inner silence, with the breathing, with an inner sense of oneness, with the divine love that makes this possible. Because when we connect with our source, with the silence out of which, because I love that, you have this piano, it's not making any sound right now, but at one point, when the karma is right, it's going to start making music. I guarantee it. It'll start making music. And so it has infinite potential. Like the silence has infinite potential. Anything can happen. And that's really the truth for us. When we're in silence, we go back, in a sense, to the being that we are, and out of that can flow the miracle of our life. It doesn't have to be conditioned by the past. It can be something, a new chapter that we're connecting with. And so that's the beautiful thing. And I think the other thing that Unity really emphasizes, besides the inner work, is the capacity that we have to create community together that's based on healing and to follow these teachings. And I think when we come together like this in classes and in celebration services, we create a field of awareness. We raise the vibratory level. And when we do that, it helps all of us. And I think all of us, if you've found your way through the door, and you're here, you have a story. And the story that each one of us has is beautiful. I'd love to know, really, all of our stories that got us here, because this is not a typical place. And I just want to say a few words about my own story. I'm so glad I met Madeline in Switzerland back when I was traveling around to Russia and doing these, trying to promote peace. And it was a very powerful time for me because I realized just how strongly people want peace in the world. I remember going to Armenia. I went to Moscow and I did some events there, but then they said, you should go to Armenia. That was actually part of the Soviet Union. And they had this, they said, it's expensive, we don't have any money, you'll have to pay for your own flight. So I had dollars, and a flight, it was like probably a 2,000-mile flight. It cost about $33. You know, dollars are very powerful. and then I gave it, and then they set up this thing. They had a rock and roll concert, and they said, well, you can play after it's over. And I thought, oh, I wonder how that's going to go. So, but it was amazing because they had this rock and roll concert in the city of Yerevan, and all these people were in there. Probably, it was big. It was a big, like a small stadium, probably maybe 10,000 people. And at the end, they said, well, we have this piano player from California. And everybody was like, really? Okay, whatever. And so I went out, and they had a nice grand piano, and I just thought, I'm just going to play for world peace. And so I sat down and I played, and I just let the music just come pouring out. And when I was finished, they all just stood up and started clapping, not just clapping, but like rhythmic clapping like this. It was an amazing experience. That made me play even more, and then they clapped even more, and I played even more, and they clapped even more. And I think it wasn't so much, I think the music was really probably coming through in a powerful way, but it was, I think, more than that, it was the love that we have for each other when we know we're on the same page and we want peace and we want harmony together. It's like, yes, this is it. This is what we want. And I think if we can get over the things that separate us and see the underlying love and similarities that we want for our children and for each other, and we can create systems that reflect that. And that's really, I think, what Jesus and the great spiritual teachers have emphasized, that it starts with ourselves, but then living it in the outer world. So in my own story, just briefly, I remember, some of you may have heard this, but when I was a little kid, I grew up in Concord, Massachusetts. And that was a neat place because of there was a Revolutionary War in 1775, and there was that, remember Emerson's poem, by the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flag to April's breeze unfurled, here once the embattled farmers stood and fired the shot heard round the world. That was the beginning of the Revolutionary War. And so every April 19th, which was Patriots' Day, we would reenact the battle. My father would get on his Minuteman outfit and get the old musket off the wall, and we'd go down and we would reenact the battle and send the Redcoats back to Boston, shooting at them the whole way, you know. And we'd celebrate the revolution, you know. When you have a situation that's like unjust, you shouldn't tolerate it, right? You know, we need freedom to live a spiritual life. You have to have political freedom. And a little later in Concord, there was the Transcendentalist revolution, or Transcendentalist movement. So I learned to swim in Walden Pond, and went to Thoreau School and Alcott School, and was born in Emerson Hospital. And so there's this whole feeling of the Transcendentalists, and they were the first people to really bring the teachings of Asia into North America, right? So you had this enrichment, I think, in many ways, of the traditions by these ideas, like from the Taoist tradition of God as infinite principle, and from the Buddhist tradition of God as infinite mind, and from the Hindu tradition of God as equally female as male. You know, these kind of ideas really sort of open things up. And I think they were very inspiring, actually, to Charles and Myrtle Fillmore as well. And so I remember when I went away to college, I started reading some of these transcendentalist writings, and that led me to different books on spirituality and yoga and Zen. This was back in the early 1970s. And I remember reading a book that really was important to me. It was called Cosmic Consciousness. Has anyone ever heard of that one? Cosmic? Yeah. It's a book written way back in the 1890s by a Canadian doctor. But basically he said, most people on planet Earth live in what he called self-consciousness. That's where we are. We're basically cared about ourself, the self. You know, we want to protect ourselves and get what we want and keep away what we don't want. And so we're always kind of struggling and fighting with each other because we're competing. There's not enough to go around. We have loyalties maybe to those close to us. He said that's where most people are at. But he said there's a few rare people who had attained what he called cosmic consciousness. People like Jesus and the Buddha, and he gave a whole list of, and talked about quite a few different people, great sages and saints and mystics, founders of religions, poets, that were both men and women through the ages. And basically, these people lived at a qualitatively higher level. They were not really caring about just their self. They cared about everyone. They had this sense of kindness and love, and they lost the fear of not getting what they're going to want, and lost the fear of death. They lost that kind of pettiness, and they really lived their lives to be a blessing. So they had this very sort of ethical illumination, I guess you could say. And so, but the thing that really got me was he said, that's why we're here. Human beings are here, each one of us, to attain cosmic consciousness. That's the purpose of our incarnation. That's the purpose of this life, is to get to this higher level. And that's what these teachers have been encouraging us to do. And so I remember going home and saying, Mom, Dad, we're here. We're not just here to make money and try to, all this. We're here to attain cosmic consciousness, right? And my father said, that education actually is costing me a lot of money, and I'm not really sure how that's going to help you get ahead in the world. So, but he actually supported it, because he actually taught me to play the piano too. So, and my mother was an artist, but my younger brother, Ed, to my delight, said, yes, we need to attain cosmic consciousness. That's really important. That was like the most important thing. So I graduated from Colby right then, and then we thought, so what do we do? And how do we attain cosmic consciousness? We thought about it for a while, and then we figured it out. We knew what to do. We'd go to California. And so I remember we talked to our parents, we got their blessing, and I remember in 1975, I remember walking down the driveway of our house in Concord with we each had a little backpack with some fresh baked cookies from my mother, and we were heading to California, and we decided to do it the way the yogis of India, like these wandering sadhus, they would just meditate and let the universe provide. And so we said, all right. So we started walking, and we walked, and by some miracle we didn't die. We just kept walking, and somehow we'd get food. We didn't have any money. We finally we got as far as Buffalo. And I remember in Buffalo, yeah, it was October. It was already freezing. And I remember thinking, gosh, let's just head south. We thought we'd keep ahead of the cold front. And we did. We ended up walking down all the way across upstate New York into Pennsylvania, all the way across Pennsylvania into West Virginia. When we got into West Virginia, they said, well, boys, you're in the Bible Belt. And I didn't know what that meant, but I found out quickly what that meant. That meant they tried to save you every night. Every night they tried, because we didn't have any money, so we kind of had this pattern gradually of just sleeping on the floor of the church. They'd say, oh, you can sleep here. But then they always wanted to talk to us. And it was very interesting. And in many ways, they found us to be very inspiring, because we were saying, look, spirituality is all that matters. All this other stuff. And so I remember, we got through West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and they would sometimes ask us to speak to their Sunday school or something. And so we told the Sunday school kids, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. That's what Jesus said. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else will be taken care of, and it should be added unto you. And we were living by that. I remember this one little town, we spoke to the kids, and then they gave us like a donation, $30, which back then was something. And so we went to this, we had to have lunch, so we get to this little restaurant, and lunch for two people was like $12, and so we gave the waitress an $18 tip. And we just kept going, because we thought every day should take care of itself. We don't want to hang on to anything. And we ended up eventually at the farm in Tennessee, which at that point was the largest hippie commune in the world, south of Nashville. And they were mostly all from California. So we thought, oh, that's cool. We kind of met in the middle. And it was neat, because they were all vegetarians, and I was still eating meat, and I didn't know, but I learned from them, you don't need to eat animal food. You can just eat plants. They were growing, had a farm, and so that was it. Since that day, I've never eaten meat in my life. And I found out when I met Madeline years later, this young Swiss artist decided the same thing, never to eat meat. And I met her years later. But we eventually ended up walking all the way to Alabama, ended up in a Zen center in Alabama. You probably think I'm lying, but there really was a Zen center in Alabama, in Huntsville. And then eventually I get out to California. I was living in these meditation centers in San Francisco eventually, and finally shaved my head, became a Zen Buddhist monk, and I was living in a monastery out in Korea. This was a community actually in South Korea called Sangwangsa. We would get up every morning, start the meditation at 3 in the morning, and meditate all day until 9 at night in silence for months. No talking, just sitting in silence from 3 in the morning. And it was a totally vegan community. No meat, dairy, eggs, wool, silk, leather. And they've been doing that for 800 years, just compassion for animals, silence. So I got a really wonderful opportunity to go much deeper in meditation. But I eventually came back to this country and got my PhD at Berkeley, and I was teaching college courses and so forth. And I discovered unity, really, and I realized that unity is this incredible jewel. It has this profound wisdom of teaching. It's based on kindness and compassion for animals and all living creatures, and it focuses on each one of us being proactive in our spiritual path, each one of us doing our best. And it's based on this underlying idea that if we quiet our mind, we get to the core of our being, which is a bubbling spring of joy that needs no reason in the outer world. And I remember when I was on that walk with my brother, we were walking, we had no reason to have happiness, right? I mean, we didn't have any money, we didn't have any security, we were not doing what we were supposed to do, all of that. But I remember walking along, sometimes somewhere in eastern Kentucky, and having these waves of joy. I was so happy because I was living my life. And I think each one of us, when we're living our life, when we connect with our inner intuitive wisdom, our inner guidance system, it'll take us somewhere, and we'll feel a sense of joy. We'll be glad when we get up in the morning because we have another day. And that sense of gratitude for another day is really the foundation, I think, of spirituality, of creativity, and of world peace, because each one of us does have an inner guidance system. So I want to just close here. I want to thank all of you for your efforts to keep this center alive and going, and the efforts that you're making in your own lives, because that's really the key to everything, is the inner efforts that we make in our relationships, and to connect with our inner guidance and to see the best in others. Each one of us, we're all in a challenging society based in many ways on domination and exploitation of animals and of each other and of the weak by the strong. And so to really have compassion and kindness and care for each other and help each other to evolve spiritually is a tremendous thing to do. We're only on this earth for a few decades, really. I remember they were talking to the oldest living human being, a woman from Japan. She was 119. And they said, "What's it like now? You're 119. You're the oldest living human being. What's it like?" And she said, "It just went by awfully fast." So it does. It goes by quickly. And so every day is a precious opportunity for us to grow and learn and to connect. So I want to thank all of you again for the tremendous efforts that you're making to help create a more compassionate world. Bless you all. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's say the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not in temptation, deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. I'll play a short piece of music. This is called Bursting Light, and just connecting with the light that is shining always in our hearts, the heart of the universe. Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And we're going to do the blessing of the offering. We have the baskets at the exits, and they've been brought up by our lovely welcoming team. And at this time, we're going to bless the offering. We bless these gifts with divine purpose and power to do what is true and good in the world. Thank you. And you can make those contributions by bringing your checks. You can mail them in. You can text and also make donations on the website. And thank you so much. Your talk really resonated with me, so I appreciate it. I'm so glad that Will and Madeline joined us today and their beautiful music. If you'd like to say another couple words.
Very briefly, I'd like to say that I'm very grateful to you all for being here, and we have a workshop coming up at 11:45. Madeline, let's give a hand to Madeline, my wonderful spouse. She'll be doing this together, and this is her art. So Albert Schweitzer said, the key to happiness is good health and a short memory. And that's very important for us to just learn to forget and come into this present moment and come from out of this space. So we'll be sharing this workshop with basically sharing techniques of meditation along with imagery and music and art to help each person who's attending connect with your own unique way of accessing your intuition. So please join us if you can at 11:45 for that. I do have we have copies of The World Peace Diet and my other book on developing intuition. This has got a lot in here about developing intuition as well. And we look forward to seeing you. And I think at this point I play one more piece, right? One short final piece. And I like to play a piece called Dance for the Arctic Moon, which is dedicated to the sacred feminine dimension of consciousness, which is really in many ways the source of intuition, the inner capacity that we all have to be receptive. So this is Dance for the Arctic Moon. Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
And I don't see any children here today, so I'm assuming we're going to be skipping that part of the ceremony, but please just say a special blessing in your heart for the children and little people in your life. So please stand for the peace song.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we, as we walk with our family in perfect harmony. Yes, there is peace on earth. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous path. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
And the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Strong in faith, steadfast in love, we are already receiving our good. Thank you, everyone. And again, please visit the tables at the back. And if you have any questions, they will be available in the lobby.